I watch a lot of movies.
The first Omen is a new paranormal horror movie and is the sixth entry in the Omen franchise. The original Omen film came out in 1976. It spawned 3 sequels, a TV series in the 90s. It eventually got a remake in 2006 and another television series in 2016, and it's essentially been dead since then. The first Omen was directed by Arkasha Stevenson and stars Nell Tiger-Free as Margaret, a young American woman who was sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but then encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. The film also stars Ralph Ineson as Father Brennan and Bill Nye as Cardinal Lawrence. Now with that out of the way, let's jump into my review for The First Omen.
There's this girl at the orphanage. I think that she really needs someone to look out for her.
To start off, I wanted to talk a little bit about Arkasha Stevenson's direction. After doing a little bit of research, it seems that she only has a few TV credits and a couple shorts to her name, and this is her first actual feature film. And that really surprised me, honestly, after finding that out, because she seems very experienced in this realm, like she's done this thing before. And there were sequences here that she put together that just felt so fresh to me, and she was clearly inspired by other horror films, and one scene in particular that was very reminiscent and a clear homage to the film Possession. Now, I won't get into that because it would give some stuff away, but I will say it was done very well. Now, I felt like the acting was great from everybody, but the clear standout for me and my personal favorite aspect of this film was the lead performance from Nell Tiger-Free as Margaret. In the first act of the film, she has to kind of give a soft and calm and subtle performance, but as the film progresses, she has to sort of open up her range a bit as her character goes through different things and different experiences. And there's one scene in particular that's one take, and you'll know it if you've seen it, that would have been absolutely silly if she couldn't pull it off, and she absolutely pulls it off. She was fantastic. Now, Ralph Ineson is also good here as Father Brennan. It's always cool to see him pop up in something whenever he shows up in a movie or a TV series. It's always cool. And his voice is just so inviting. Whenever he starts talking, you have to listen.
It's all for you. No, don't.
Now, having seen so many horror movies throughout my life, I'm pretty desensitized to them. It takes a specific thing and it takes a lot to get under my skin. And I'll say in this, there are some genuinely creepy visual scares, which was really nice to see. I'm so tired of jump scares in films, and this movie didn't really have much in the way of jump scares, and if it did, it definitely made up for it with the visual horror. And the way these sequences were shot and edited, accompanied by the score, I thought it made them extremely effective. And I guess it's just nice to see nowadays a horror film decide that it wants to move away from jump scares and do more unsettling horror and visual horror instead. And it's even more refreshing when it's coming from the sixth entry in an almost 50-year-old franchise. And speaking on this being a franchise film, this takes place just a little bit before the original film. And that's something you kind of worry about going into a film like this. Not only is it a franchise film, it's also a prequel. So does it ruin the original? Does it answer questions that you didn't have? Does it expand the lore in an unsatisfying way that just brings up more questions from the original on why certain things did or didn't happen? Now, for those of you who are fans of the original, I am pleased to say that no, it does not ruin the original film. It doesn't answer questions that you didn't have, and for the most part, it does expand the lore in an interesting way. Now, I did say for the most part, which I guess segues us into some of the problems that I had with the film. A minor issue that I had was a couple of exposition scenes with some expository dialogue that I just thought could have been cleaned up a little bit more. It felt like rather than the characters talking to each other about what they're trying to overcome, to me it felt like they were talking to the audience and it didn't feel natural. But my main issue with the film was really the last 3 or 4 minutes or so. To me, it felt like the movie had sort of ended, and then they had to do a couple things to try and wrap things up, and it felt extremely forced to me, and it felt like an afterthought, and it even felt like they were trying to potentially franchise bait as well and do more entries into the franchise. And to me, it felt like the movie had ended and they did what they wanted to do, and then the studio stepped in and said, well, no, we need more movies, so let's throw this in there. And it felt a bit forced to me. So I guess I just wish they didn't shoot those last couple of minutes and we would have ended up with a better movie here, I think. But with that said, it's not an issue big enough to ruin the film or anything.
Not real, it's not real. What's not real? Who said that?
This is very real.
The first Omen is a really good horror movie with fantastic direction, a great lead performance, and some genuinely creepy visual scares. I walked in with low expectations and I walked out pleasantly surprised, so I definitely recommend this film if you're a fan of the original. But it is rated R and it definitely pushes that R rating, especially for one scene in particular, so watch out for that. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button and please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you don't miss a thing from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.
I watch a lot of movies.